And what do you think this is? This is a very special project. Talk about that later. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs, and this is my weekly vlog for Monday, August the 6th, 2018. I hope everybody had a good week, and I hope everybody had a good weekend. It's a long weekend here in Ontario. This is not a long weekend that happens all the way across Canada, therefore it's not statutory, which means like today, Monday, which is the third day of the long weekend, everything's open as usual with the exception of liquor stores and banks and post office, government buildings and things like that. But we have this in August and it's called the Civic Holiday and don't really know why we have it. I think it was sometimes referred to as Lord Simcoe Day, which was one of the, now Lord Simcoe, I could have this wrong, but I think he was our first Lieutenant Governor General of Ontario. We have governors, not like the ones in the States though. These governors, each province has a Lieutenant Governor General, and of course we have a Governor General at the federal level, and they're just the Queen's representative because we are still tied to Britain, more metaphorically than anything else. And for any laws that are passed in provinces and in the country as a whole need to have the signature of the Governor General or the Lieutenant Governor General, because that gives it the Queen's, the royal assent. Just a holdover from the colonial days when we were the Dominion of Canada, when we were part of the British Empire. And it's something we've never got rid of. So it's more traditional than anything else. And there's your history lesson for the day. Now, I'm starting to rattle on here, and I can't today because this is going to be a long vlog. Sorry. But I've got a lot of video clips that I've been collecting over this past week to show you. So let's get right into it. First of all, what have I been working on? The Bland Bag Challenge. Walter and I are challenging each other, well, it's really not a challenge, to make a bag. And I have started mine, and this is mine right now. It's not finished. This is the outside. Haven't got the handles on, haven't got it lined yet. I think it's going to be quite nice. I love this material. I thought at first when I saw it in the fabric store that it was Tim Holtz, but I don't think it is. But very much his type of style. And anyways, it's going together very nicely. I am following a pattern this time. You know me, I have this thing about instructions. But I decided, because Walter wants to make one, that I would make mine ahead of him and sort of, you know, can't say the word. Go out there and find the mistakes, the pitfalls. That's the word I'm looking for. So he doesn't have to avoid them, or so he can avoid them. Oops, Freudian slip. Yeah, my bag's a little bit more elaborate because there's some pockets that are going on it and things like that. He just wants to do a basic one, and I think it's a great way to get his feet wet using the sewing machine, because you know I've been encouraging that. And so when we were in a little town called Campbellford, which I'm going to talk about a little later, on the weekend we went into a fabric store there, and while I was picking out some fabric and some other things, he said, you know, I'd like to make a bag. And I says, great, let's get fabric. So we did. And he hasn't started it yet. I'm going to show him how to cut the material and things like that. He's not a good student because he doesn't have patience for other people trying to teach him things. I have a little bit more patience. But that's what I did for a living, right? But anyways, that's one project. Now the other project I sort of alluded to in the little teaser today for the vlog, and that was this that I showed you. And this is a very special journal for a very special reason, and I'm going to talk about this a little later on. Okay? So, what else? All right, we're going to jump right now right into the YouTube channel of the week. The YouTube channel of the week is Chatterbox Quilts. This is run by a lady from Calgary, Canada. Her name is Kim, and she's a great quilting enthusiast. She shares a lot of her ideas, her tips, her tricks, and techniques on her YouTube channel called Chatterbox Quilts. However, she does have a membership website that is full of videos about everything related to quilting. Her instructions are very clear, her presentation style is very professional, and it is a membership site which she is fully launching this coming September. But right now I have joined it because you could start up with a trial membership for 2 weeks to see if you really want to get into this. Now, I went in a bit critical, but I have to say it is well worth $10 US per month. I've been watching her introductory videos to this site, and I've been following her YouTube channel faithfully for the last few months, and I have to say that I think it's a bargain at $10 US a month. So if you're into quilting, or even if you're not into quilting but you want to know more about it, this is the YouTube channel and the website to go to, and I have links for both of these in my show notes below. So enough said about that, I guess. Check it out. And what else? Okay, this is the time when I usually do a person of interest, and lately I've been begging you to send me things, and finally the call was heard, and Julie Chambers, thank you very much, Julie, sent me a whole bunch of pictures of her latest projects and a little blurb about herself. So I took all those pictures and the blurb and I did a little video all about Julie Chambers, who's our person of interest this week. So watch this. Our person of interest for this week is Julie Chambers, and this is what Julie writes. My name is Julie Chambers, and I am married and have 5 children and 13 grandchildren. I used to be a registered nurse, but unfortunately I injured my back. I spent years being a stay-at-home mom to my brilliant children. I baked all of our bread, cakes, jams, and chutneys. For years I made wedding cakes, but I had to give this up 25 years ago due to a worsening back problem I had always had. I was born with a twisted spine, and the doctors always said that one day I would end up in a wheelchair. That day came 8 years ago, but I take my pain tablets and spend much time as I can to do my crafting. I've always been crafting. I made dolls, knit so many clothes for my children. I crochet, do cross-stitch, and tapestry. I absolutely love reading. My home is a library to so many books. About 5 years ago, I started paper crafting. I started making cards, came second place in a card competition in one of our national card magazines. Then I quickly fell in love with making mini albums, but in my case, not so many. I really love making a complete album from start to finish. I mostly use graphic 45 paper lines, but I also use Prima Authentic. At the moment, I'm making a 10 by 8 wedding album using Authentic, always paper line. I love to visit gardens, not so easy now with my wheelchair. Our own garden is wonderful. I am the foreman and my husband does the work. We are going to New York in 2 years' time, and I'm really looking forward to going to Tuesday morning, Michael's and Hobby Lobby. I'm taking an empty suitcase with me. We like to travel, been to Holland, France, Germany, Italy a few times, especially in our winter months. Been to Egypt, Israel, Cyprus, Malta, but we are looking forward to traveling further away. One good thing came out of me being in a wheelchair was that I finally went to do my history degree. I had always wanted to do it, and now I have. Yes, I am in a lot of pain, but life goes on. You have to get up every morning and get on with it. I went through the same situation that you're going through at the moment, Stephen. I did it for both my mom and dad. I know it's hard, exhausting mentally and physically, but you will get through it. You will feel better knowing you were there for your mom when she needed you. I love Stephen and Walter live on a Sunday and look forward to it. Hope this helps, and thank you for having me back as a person of interest. Julie. Well, thank you, Julie, for that, and also thank you for your encouraging words about the situation I'm going through with my mother right now. Your work is lovely, and I hope everyone appreciates the effort you've put into your crafting. So again, thank you, Julie, for sending me all that, and please, it's very easy. Send me whatever, and I'd love to feature you on my vlog, as you know. All right, moving on to the resources that are printed in the list below. We've got the latest link to Stephen and Walter live on Sunday. We did it in a new location. We did it from our rec room. And what we're trying to do right now is just mix things up a little bit, try and change the background scenery kind of a thing, because you're kind of used to looking at my stove and my fridge. So the week before we did it from underneath in our patio, or where our hot tub is and things like that. This week we did it from our rec room. I'd like to do one from on top of our deck, but there's two problems with that. One, in the afternoon when we do the broadcast, that's when the most sun hits our deck. And it doesn't matter whether you have umbrellas up or whatever, it is extremely hot and bright out there. Now, this time of year, of course. The other problem is our houses are fairly, in this subdivision, fairly close together, and our neighbors have a really nice deck as well, and they like to sit out there too. And I really don't want to disturb them by doing a live broadcast from the deck if they happen to be out there. But who knows? Maybe we'll catch it on one Sunday afternoon before the weather turns back to what it normally is in Canada, cold. And maybe we'll be able to do it out there. I even had half a notion, now I may still do that maybe this week on one day that's really nice. I'd like to do a sort of a little mini quilt show. I'm now up to 10 quilts, and I thought it would be kind of nice to put them outside, hang them on the railing of the deck, and talk about each one. Now that would not be part of my vlog, nor part of Stephen and Walter Live. I think I would do that as an Idiot Quilter segment. Just a thought in my head. We'll see what happens. Okay, what else is in the list? All right, using Tim Holtz's alcohol lift ink, or what do they call that? Yeah, alcohol lift ink. I've done a video about this as a product review, so that's linked below as well. And there's a link to the YouTube channel of the week, to both the YouTube channel and the website that I mentioned about the Quilter's Way. And I've got a link to the book of this week, which we're coming to shortly. So that's all our resources. So what's pissing me off this month or this week? Nothing much. And so let's move right on, because like I said, this is going to be a long vlog. So where are we going from here? Let's talk about what I've bought that's new. Well, we bought last week more of those rulers, those special Angela Walter rulers for doing free motion quilting. So I got Chevy, she names them, Chevy, Elvira. I had to think about this one for a minute, but look at it closely. Elvira, if you know who Elvira is. This is Taj. I think that's kind of obvious. This one is Archie. Think about it, Archie. And this one's Shorty. Okay, so I now own all of Angela Walter's ruler foot rulers for quilting. Haven't used them yet, just got the middle of last week, but itching to get going and trying those out. Again, too many projects, too little time. So that was one thing that was new. Another thing that was new is I bought a program. I found it online. I may not use it that much, but someone asked me in Stephen and Walter Live about my embroidery machine, whether or not I could convert graphics into embroidery designs. And yes, there are programs that do that, but they're very, very expensive. They run from anywhere from $1,000 up. And they're fairly sophisticated, they're fairly elaborate, so anything that's that sophisticated, that elaborate, usually has a steep learning curve. So someone, I think it was Mel, on Stephen and Walter Live, suggested an add-on program to a free program called Inkscape, which you may or may not be familiar with Inkscape, but it's basically a graphic program for manipulating graphics, doing your own drawing, things like that, you know, sort of like Photoshop or Photoshop Elements, that kind of thing. It's absolutely free program. It's what they call open source, means that, you know, people are developing this, and, you know, the code that's in it may not be as sophisticated as maybe the code in a commercial product, but nevertheless, Inkscape's been around for quite a while and does a really good job. Now, I find it has a bit of a learning curve, a steep learning curve, because it does some things that I'm not used to doing. So I've had it for a long time. I've never really used it much. But there's an add-on program called InkStitch, which supposedly allows you to create embroidery designs and also to take like bitmaps and JPEGs, and make those into embroidery designs. So I downloaded it, I installed it, I tried it, and it's been so long since I've used Inkscape that in order to really figure out how to use this program, I would have to spend quite a few hours going through bit by bit how to use Inkscape and then how to use Inkstitch. And quite frankly, I'm not that dedicated to learning that. So I went out looking for cheaper programs that would convert. And I found SewArt. And it does work. Now I've had some problems with it, and I have to tinker with it. Again, another learning curve. But I have played with it, and I'm a little bit more motivated to learn it and play with it more because I paid for this program. I got a trial version, but then I decided to pay for it, and it came out to $101 Canadian. So as programs go, not an expensive program, but still it's $100. So I'm still playing with that, and in the process of playing with it, I've learned some other things about embroidery techniques, like things about the stabilizers and how to use them properly and that kind of thing. So I'm still playing with all of that. But anyways, to answer the question that someone asked on Stephen Wolter Live, can you convert graphic files into embroidery files? The simple answer is yes. The more difficult answer is you have to pay for a program that's going to do it, and there's a learning curve. Okay, and what else did I get new? I bought a new travel bag, carry bag, for my new sewing machine. I was hoping my old one would fit because I spent a lot of money on the old one. The old one cost me about 250 bucks. I mean, it's a good bag, a really good bag. And I was hoping I'd be able to use it. No such luck. My new machine is is a little bit longer, a little bit wider. So I looked on the internet and I found a hard sided case made by Janome for this machine, and it was like around $400 American if you could get your hands on it. And so I thought, well, I'll ask them at my Ultimate Sewing store where I bought the machine. Walked in, saw Shirley, said, by the way, Shirley, can you order me, what color do you want? I've got two right here. Now, they weren't the hard case ones. They were exactly the same as the one I had bought before, but that's fine. I didn't need a hard covered case one, and I also figured it might be a little cheaper. So I said, yep. She had a purple and a teal. My other bag is teal. Thought I'd go for purple with this one. And I said to her, okay, I'll take the purple one, and how much? $330. She said, I have to say that fast. $330. More than the other one, but to be expected. It's a bigger bag. But I broke down and I bought it. Because it's one of those things. If I go to a crop, or not, I call it a crop, as I'm used to scrapbooking days, a quilting thing, retreat, that's the word they use, a quilting retreat, I got to take my sewing machine. I need something to carry the sewing machine in. So even if I take a class, which I do intend to take a class or two again this fall, I'm going to need something to transport the sewing machine. So bite the bullet, buy it now. And I did. And you know, I don't have a great deal of problem anyway spending money on my new obsession. But it's still a little bit of a sticker shock. Will this ever end? I don't think it will. All right, so I bought that. And now I'm going to show you my 65-cent watch. I don't know if you remember, but way back, probably a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I had come across this website called Wish, which sells all kinds of things at ridiculously low prices. And they have a lot of freebies, but you have to pay shipping. So I saw a watch. And I thought I'd just test this system out. I couldn't believe that you could get things at the price that they were selling them. Now, mind you, I've done some research since, and a lot of them are Chinese knockoffs, to be expected, and they're cheap, and most of it's all coming from China as well. And for the amount of time it took me to get this watch, they came by the slow boat from China, but it was 65 cents shipping. So I took a chance. I mean, what could I lose? 65 cents, big deal. It finally arrived this week, and so I'm going to insert the video here of my unboxing of this and showing you what I got for 65 cents. So back about 4 or 5 vlogs ago, I told you that I was going to order, and I did, from that company Wish that has ridiculously cheap prices on everything, a watch. Actually, the watch was free, but it cost me 65 cents to have it shipped. Well, I didn't think it was ever going to arrive because I ordered that in about the first part of June. This is now the beginning of August. It finally came today. And where did it come from, you may ask? It came from a place that's located between Russia and China, because I looked it up on Google Maps, and it's called Kyrgyzstan or something like that. Never heard of it before. But here it is. I have not opened it yet, so I don't know what a 65-cent watch is going to look like. I'm not expecting it to be anything too exciting. Well, it's well wrapped up, though, from its long voyage from across the world. Now, I did order blue, and it is blue on that. It's an analog, which I knew that too. So here it is, my 65-cent watch, and it's a rubbery type of band. It is not running right now, but there's a little thing underneath the stem. Looks like you probably have to pull that out. There we go. Let's set the time. It's 2:10. 2:10. Okay. Oops. Feels a little on the cheap side. Kind of big numbers on it. A closer look here. Okay, it's got buttons on either side. I don't know what they do. Maybe nothing. No instructions. I think they're just there for looks. I don't think they do anything. No, I don't think they do anything. So there it is. It is running. The little second hand is going around. So I don't know if you wind it up or if it's probably a battery in it. Walter's in the background here. He was just dying to see this watch. It's got a little, I think it's running. A bit of a glare on it. It's kind of hard to see. Yeah, the little minute hand is going, or second hand is going around. It's got some other things on here. I don't know what that is. Those are, these buttons must operate some of these things here, but I don't know. There's a 30-second thing, 30-minute thing. Watch. Maybe. But I don't know how they, oh wait. I have no idea how those work.
Maybe you just push it.
No.
Well.
So I don't know what they do. No instructions with it. Nothing on the back of it to tell you even where it's, well, where it's made. But it was only 65 cents. Let's see how fashionable it looks if I wear it. Now this is a 65-cent watch. That's not. That was about $1.55. No. Okay, let's see how this looks. I'm putting it on. Maybe. Okay. All right. Okay. This is not easy.
I wonder if the band's upside down.
No, I think I've got it now. It's a funny feeling band. It's like a rubber. No pieces falling off it. Okay, there. How fashionable. 65 cents.
Let's see if it keeps time.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Still wonder what those buttons do. No idea. But there you go. That's what you get for 65 cents. And so here it is again. And get a glare on it. Is it still running? It is. and it's accurate. It's the right time and everything. And as I said, I still haven't figured out what these two little knobs do on the side, but I don't think they do anything. I think they're there for looks. Like there's a couple of other dials on here as well. And get the glare off. You see them? One at the top, one at the bottom, and I don't think they actually move. I don't know, there are some hands on, but I don't think they move. And it's like it's supposed to be maybe some form of a stopwatch, but I think that's fake. But actually, in some ways, it's for 65 cents, it's not bad. I mean, it's analog. It took like 6 weeks to get it, that kind of thing. But, you know, if in a pinch, or if I don't want to wear my regular watch, because I don't know why I would want to wear my regular watch, but always have that. Is it 65 cents? Bargain. I can give it away to somebody. Give it away to a little kid or somebody, you know. That would be great for a little kid. You know, if they break it, so what? So anyways, if you want to check out Wish, you can. I put the link several weeks ago down in my notes. I would just beware I'd check out YouTube and see how people are comparing, because I mean they have everything, you name it, electronics, art supplies, things like that. I don't think I'll be ordering from them again. It takes too long, and I'm pretty sure the quality sucks. So, you know, if it costs 65 cents but you never use it, why buy it, I guess. Oh, that's coming from me, that's rich, you know, with my pile of things that are still in their packages. Okay, moving on. Let's go to book reviews. This week's book, the printmaking book. I thought I might get really into printmaking and things like that, and you know, actually I do printmaking, but I use, you know, my rubber stamps and things like that. But this book is very comprehensive about all kinds of different methods, of different ways to do printing, ideas, what you can do with what you've printed afterwards and things like that. You can see that it's a fairly thick book, and it's pretty good for that. It's pretty comprehensive, I would say. I mean, they even get into things like silk screening and stuff like that as well. So if you're interested in printmaking, this might be the book for you. Now, here's the best news. When I bought this book, I think I paid, it says $19.95 US. So Canadian, it would have been probably 25, 26 bucks at the time. But I looked it up on Amazon.ca, and the link's below. And if you want a brand new copy of it, they're selling it for $21.56 Canadian. But you can get a used version of it for $9.39. Now, I've mentioned this before. Don't poo-pah the used book section, because most of the times that I've ordered any of the books from the used section, they're like brand new. And if it's a book you're not really sure about, if you're not, you know, you're not sure you want to go and use it or whatnot, why not buy it used? Simple as that. It's also an environmental thing. You're kind of recycling, in a sense. Okay, so let's come to inspiration tips this week. And this is where I'm going to talk about this and why this is special. Now, this is not finished yet, but you know that I order a lot of things from Mike Deacon. And a little bit more about Mike Deacon a little later on, but right now. And I order his stencils all the time. And I was trying to think of a way that, one, I could try out his new stencils that I had sitting in a corner that hadn't even taken them out of the package. And, you know, I've been itching to make another journal. So this journal, I decided, is a dedication to Mike Deacon, because everything on this journal, with the exception of this ribbon and possibly these elastic straps, are all Mike Deacon products. So this cover is one of his downloads, but the inserts, I'm doing it sort of like a traveler's journal, in the type that, you know, you can put inserts into it easy enough because you have elastics. So you see the pages. Any of the digital elements on the pages are Mike Deacon's. I have 3 signatures in here That's the middle of the signature. The color on the pages, the stenciling, those are Mike Deacon's. These little cards that come out are Mike Deacon's. And you'll notice here it says Mike Deacon. All right. The reason is the signatures are all made up of his packaging that his stencils come in. They are a neat little booklet into themselves. And so I just stenciled work on the inside. I put, I think, 4 of them together. And those little flaps make great little pockets. Just trying to get this card out. So it's one of his digi downloads. Little card there. And this background paper. This actually covers up the writing that's on the back of his packaging. This is for notes. I just put it through. It's his design. I added the word notes, and then I put one of his digi downloads on here. I'm using some of his word phrases throughout. Now I've only done one set of the signatures. There's 2 more sets of signatures to go. That's what they look like blank. So I'm going to work on that. And there's an example here of what the back of what I was talking about. I put the note page on. Where is it? That's what it looks like there. And I am going to do a video where I'll explain in detail how I constructed this once I have it finished. But it's my tribute to Mike Deacon. And I think Mike Deacon needs that tribute right now, because I don't know if you've heard or not, but Mike and Ian had their house broken into and they were robbed. And the thieves got away with their iMacs and one of their iPhones and some cash that Ian had just earned from one of the steampunk conventions that he sells his creations at, and the whole bit. I think that whole situation was very sad, and I know Mike has had an outpouring of support, and this is my outpouring of support to Mike too, as well. I don't know, I would be devastated if that happened to me, and I hope his house insurance covers everything, but I mean, he's got probably tons of things on that iMac they've taken, and I don't know if he had it backed up somewhere else or what, but you know, he does videos. It's part of what he does for a living, in a sense. And so these creeps, these thieves that came in and walked away with all this stuff, and he's probably never going to recover it, because he sounded a little, the cops had come and they did fingerprinting and that and found none. So these guys were pretty professional. They knew how to hide their identities. And the cops basically, I think, told them, you know, not much chance here. And so that in itself is very, very devastating. And I know that a few years ago, and I mentioned this on Stephen and Walter Live, my sister's house got broken into during the day when she and her husband were both at work and kids were not around. And they took some stuff from their place too. And my sister said the worst part though was that you felt absolutely violated. A stranger came into your house and went through your things. And yeah, I could see that. So if Mike, if you're watching this, you have as much, I'm sending positive thoughts your way and hoping all of this will work out for you and everything. But to let you know, I've created this journal using your products, and I will be making a video about that, and it's my tribute to Mike, because Mike has always been a great inspiration to me, and I know to many, many, many other people in the mixed media world. And so yeah, and we appreciate his videos. So good luck, Mike, and Ian as well too. So moving on, what is next on here? Okay, what's in my drawers? This week I'm going to talk about my obsession that I did have. I don't have this obsession anymore, with Project Life. So what's in my drawers this week? More stuff. Project Life. Now, if you are not aware of what Project Life is, a few years ago, one of the gurus in the scrapbooking community, Becky Higgins, came out with this product line called Project Life. And it was basically, it's what they also call pocket scrapbooking. This essentially, you have these cards that come in kits like this, for example, that have graphics on them, blank spaces on them. You can stick them into little plastic page protectors that are designed to hold this size of cards. And it's a fast way to do scrapbooking. And it was all the rage a few years ago. I don't think it is as popular now as it was then. But at the time, and actually this has been around for quite a while now, I poo-pooed it. I was not going to get into this at all. I wasn't going to do it. And then for some reason I thought I'd give it a shot. And then you know me, once I get bitten by the bug, I have to have everything. Well, I have way too much Project Life stuff. I haven't done any Project Life in quite a while. It is an interesting system. If you're interested in doing a scrapbook very fast, where you really don't have to think about your design that much, this system does work for you. It even has iPhone apps where you can design on the go. So I started off by buying a basic kit, and it grew from there. So this is one of the collections. I have 5 or 6 of these, and these have got more cards than you'll ever use in your life, because if you look right down here, it says there are 616 cards in this kit. You'll never ever use all of them, ever. But I didn't stop there. Then they have smaller little kits that are based on a theme. Sorry about the glare. I've got a bunch of these. Then they have other ones that are like holiday editions. This one is. It has more cards. You can see I've never opened it. The plastic is still on it. I have several of these. And then there are accessory packs. More cards in the 2 basic sizes that they use. Then there's the page protectors, and I have lots of those. They come in kits as well. And then they even have pens, Project Life pens. And, you know, these look really nice. However, one word of caution, I would not put my money into these again. I fought for a good 9 months with American Crafts, because the first box of these I bought, all of them except for 2 pens were dried up. They wouldn't write, or they dried up immediately when you were using them. I wrote to them. I made a little video to show them what was happening, and it took a long time to get those replaced. And even this set that I have right now, I'll bet you I'll pull one of these out, and we'll see. And they're different tips. Look at this one's already blowing up. It's all mucked up on the end of it. Yeah, you're not getting much out of that. I mean, these were like about 50 bucks for a set of these, and they're useless. So don't buy Project Life pens, I can tell you that. And they're made by America Crafts, which usually their stuff's pretty good, but these were a loser. Now, as I said, I have a ton of this stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. What I do use it for, some of it, just to use up the pieces, is in my weekly agenda. And so you can see here, I've just taken pieces from their packs and used them, and I've used the cards. And if you remember last week, I did the punch board, what's in my drawers, and I said that there was one of those tools that punches holes that I use on a regular basis. Well, this is where I use it. I use these cards to make my notes, and I can insert them right into this spiral bound case. So I do use them for that, but that is not really what they were intended for. Now, just in case you think that I don't have much of this, let's move this out of the way for just a second. This, I'll tilt it up a little bit. The first few kits I got, I tried to organize them by categories, and this is how I did it in this box. And you can see here, just in this box alone, I have enough of these little cards forever. So I have tried to think of other ways to use these, like make journals out of them and that, and I have done that. It's just overwhelming. And it's still out there, it's still available. It is not particularly cheap. Nothing is. So you can imagine how much money I have spent on all this kind of stuff over a long while. And it was addictive. Very addictive. Now, I have seen YouTube videos where people have talked about these kits, And there are a lot of these kits, and they have them all sitting up on a bookshelf, all organized according to their theme or what they're called. This one's called the Wander Edition. And so there are people out there more obsessed than I was with this. So now I actually have a separate shelving unit, a 3-level little wire shelving unit that holds all my Project Life materials. I need to have a garage sale. So yeah, just another one of those things that I had to have it all. Well, I don't even have close to all of it. There's a lot of it out there. And there are people more obsessed with it than I was. So, you know, just look on YouTube. You'll find them. All right. So, events in the past week. Mom update. She's doing okay. She has good days. She has bad days in the hospital. To be expected. I mean, she's been in the hospital now. We're starting the 8th week. This could go on for a lot longer yet. So, we're going over as we usually do to visit her, take her anything that she may need. And yeah, I don't know. It's becoming a way of life right now. But you know, funny, when you think you have it bad, somebody always has it worse. We were in the hospital visiting her one day last week, and there was a new lady that had come in who was in a great deal of pain. And according to my mother, she pretty much was screaming in pain all night long. And her daughter was there, and her daughter was talking. I was talking to her daughter for a few minutes, and she said, yeah, that this was her mother. She had been looking after her mother. Her mother had been living with her, and her mother had broken her pelvis, and she also has cancer. So the poor lady. Now, mind you, according to my mother, that lady is 92 years old. And, you know, that's a good age. But her daughter, this poor lady, was telling me that she, you know, they're all recommending that she gets nursing help to come into the home when she gets out of the hospital and everything like that. I had a feeling that she is not on a waiting list for a long-term care facility. But this woman was really at her wit's end. She has done so much and she can't do any more. It's beyond her. And she's been trying to get a nurse, and she says it's almost impossible. They don't have any that are free in their schedule or whatever. So, yeah, I really felt for this lady. She was pretty much on the verge of tears. You could see it. Tears of frustration, of anger, of, you know, disappointment, the whole gamut of emotions. And I really felt for her. And it made me feel better about our situation, because we are nowhere near that kind of situation. Mom's health is okay. She just can't walk. And speaking of, so, you know, before I leap on here, when you think you've got it bad, think about other people. Somebody's always has it worse than you do. So suck it up. And my mother's got her new wheelchair, and there's doing some fine tuning and adjusting to it, and it looks like a lot more comfortable for her than the one that we were using, which, you know, it was a good wheelchair too, but it was Walter's mother's wheelchair, and then my father used it, and now my mother was using it, and yeah, it's done its time. So anyways, she's got a new wheelchair now. So fingers crossed that there will be she will eventually get moved into a facility. Of course, there's going to be a new situation when that happens that we'll have to go through, of course, of adjustment. But it is what it is. Somebody always has it worse. Okay, so this weekend, now here's where we're going to have a series of little videos. But this weekend we went to the town that I was born in. My whole family come from this town. Most of them have all moved away at one time or another over the years, but it's still a quaint little town, and it was the long weekend, and you just felt like you wanted to do something. And Saturday was a beautiful day. It was hot, but it was beautiful, and you want to take advantage of that. So this place, it's called Campbellford, is about an hour and a half drive away from us, so it's not that bad, 90 minutes. And so off we went. Now, one of the reasons we went there is because there's a fabric store in Campbellford, which is actually part of 3 fabric stores, one in a place called Peterborough, one in Bowmanville, which I talked about last week, and this one in Campbellford. And so we went, and that's where we bought lots of material and other things in there, and great little store, really. And the lady that waited on us there, I think she may be the owner of these stores. She happened to be in the one in Bowmanville the day we walked in there, and that's how we knew this one existed in Campbellford. But so we went there. We went to a little place to have lunch, which was quite nice. Very small, but seems to be very popular in this town. Then we took a little walk around the downtown core, and it's not very big. And then we did a little drive around to pass some historical landmarks for me, meaning the places where my family lived. So where my grandparents lived on both sides of my family, and my great-grandparents, and then where some of my cousins and great aunt and uncle and things like that. So we just did a little tour, very quickie, and I put that all on to video. Then we decided to go off to Peterborough. That was a mistake. Peterborough is probably the closest major, in quotation marks, city near Campbellford. It's probably about 40-50 kilometers away to the west. I thought it had a population of about 150,000. It doesn't. It's actually 81,000. Really, the downtown core is dead. There was nobody down there. Half the stores were closed or just non-existent. It was kind of sad. Now they have lots of like the box store shopping malls that are very popular these days on the outside of the downtown core. And that's where everybody goes, I think, really. The downtown, like in so many little towns, the downtown is dead. Made me really happy that I live where I live, because in comparison, where I live is a bustling metropolis. So anyways, I've got that on the video for you as well. And then right after that video, the next insert is Bastard Bunny. That's what we've named him. Well, no, Walter named him. You know, a week ago on our vlog, we were underneath the deck and we heard scratch, 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 and it was the crazy bunny out there trying to get in from the forest through our fence by digging under it, and this drives Walter mental. I think he's kind of cute, but we have lots of bunnies and skunks and everything else. But anyways, the other day, I kind of looked out the door, and there was the bunny digging away. So I caught it on video. I didn't get him actually digging because he saw me coming and he all froze up, you know, like rabbits do, looking like, what are you going to do to me? He knew I wasn't going to do anything to him because they're not, these rabbits are used to the subdivision. And so, but he was just being wary. And so I caught that on video. So you can see the bastard bunny. That's what Walter calls him, the bastard bunny. And right after that, I'm showing you a quickie about Walter's experiment with the sous vide. He thought, we're just going to do hamburgers on the barbecue one night for dinner. And he thought, you know, why not do them in the sous vide and finish them off on the barbecue? And he explains in the video why he was doing that. And you'll see how much of a, it wasn't an epic fail or anything like that. It's just, I wouldn't be doing hamburgers in the sous vide again. So those three video clips, one right after the other, I'm inserting here. And this is what's making this vlog a little long today. You may want to fast forward. So it's the long weekend, and today we're going down to the place where I was born and where my family all come from. Campbellford, it's called.
What, Uranus?
Okay, enough of that. Anyways, there's a quilting store there that actually they have an outlet in Bowmanville, which is near us, and we were in it last week, and so we're going down there, take a look around, and maybe go to the big metropolis of Peterborough, which is all excitement. So you people were asking about videos about our country. Well, here we are. We're not on the highway. We're on sort of a side road kind of a thing on our way down there. It's a little bit more picturesque than going onto the 401, which is a major highway. So you see little communities along the way, and
lots of corn.
Lots of corn, yep. Okay, this time I got the picture of the corn. There it is, that's corn. And yeah, this isn't really what you would call rural. Not in Canada. This is actually civilized, believe it or not. So just another shot of along the road here.
Nice and hilly.
Nice and hilly and green. This part of Ontario is hilly. And
we're driving along next to a big road construction.
yeah, there's a big new highway going over on this far side over here that they've been working on for years. It runs from the far side of Toronto all the way out to another highway system that runs north and south. And it's a toll road though, however.
And it's supposedly the most expensive highway in North America.
Yeah, well, when you see your bill after you've driven only a few miles on it, it certainly gives you a shock. But anyways, this just gives you a little bit of an idea of, see there, you can see where they're building it right there.
The Bear Bridge.
And there it is, cross country, using up farmland for this kind of thing.
Okay, I'm not sure where.
Oh, now we don't know where we are because this is taking us. Well, this is where we came out the last time I said, and it was blocked off. You couldn't go that way, so you're going to have to go north and across the other way. We're doing a cross-country trip here. Road trip. Now, over in the distance, you can see windmills. We have a lot of them in Ontario. Alternative energy, all that kind of thing. And they were supposed to be building a brand new one, too, site for it, but our latest premier, he decided that that's costing way too much money, and so he stopped it. Yeah, we need the electricity. We need a cheap, affordable electricity, and he's supposed to be for the common man, and he's canceling something like that. It's also good for the environment because there's virtually no pollution when you use wind power, but no, he wouldn't want to do that. That would be too 21st century thinking. He has his head buried back in the last century. Okay, so we're back on sort of a better road. But this is a very typical scene for this part of Ontario. As I said before, it's very hilly. And it's a great day because it's hot and everything is very green. Which,
surprisingly, because we haven't had any rain for a while.
No. But this is something we don't see for that many months out of the year. I mean,
they're usually covered in ice and snow.
Yeah. So, you know, we have to kind of enjoy it while we can get it. So, we're just coming into the big metropolis of Campbellford. About 3,300 people. This is where I was born. This is where my family all were born here too. Generations of us. It's where my father's buried here. And all my other dead relatives for that matter. So this is on...
And a few living ones too.
Yeah, a few living yeah. This is basically country where brothers marry sisters. Okay? It's quaint. It's cute. And it's hillbilly country in many ways. Sorry if anybody's watching this that comes from the area. This church right here is the United Church. I was baptized in that church, as were my brother. My sister wasn't. She was baptized in Norwood.
Oh, and this is the big traffic jam.
Yeah. Over the bridge. We're all backed up here because there's this bridge. This is Bridge Street. Funny name. When I was a kid, there used to be a great big bridge, a lift bridge, and it had a huge concrete block that was the counterweight for it. And I always thought when we drove under it as a kid that we'd get stopped underneath it. But you know, in all the years of Campbellford, this has always been a tie-up on the bridge, even though this is a new bridge.
In 250 meters, arrive at address 1 on the right.
Yeah, okay, we know where we are. But it's a quaint little community, and it's amazing how any place that I go, I always run into somebody who's been to Campbellford or grew up in Campbellford. I didn't really grow up here. I grew up in the city next to where we live now. I mean, moved away from this area many years ago. But it's where it all got started. Okay, so we just came from the quilting store here in Campbellford, and now we're having lunch at, what's this place called? Antonia's. We've been here before when they first opened up. They weren't licensed then, that was a couple of years ago. Supposedly, best place in town to have lunch, so we'll find out. It's not very big, as you can see. Quaint. Okay, so this is downtown Campbellford. We just had lunch. And right across the street is the sewing center where we just bought a bunch of material. Walter wants to make a bag. This is the most famous bakery around in these parts. It was here when I was a little kid. So it's been here
that was a long time ago.
Okay, screw up. Actually, it used to be located over there where it says thrift store. That's where it used to be when I was a kid. The theater. Used to go there when I'd be there on a Saturday. We'd go for a matinee, Saturday afternoon matinee. It was usually a Western.
And was it 5 cents?
It was 25. Actually, we used to get a quarter and we'd have, I think it was 15 cents. And then we had a dime to buy a drink and potato chips. It may have been a little bit more than that. That's the way I remember it. Yeah, it was like, 55 years ago. Yeah. Anyways, there's also a little scrapbooking store up here on the corner. I've been in there before. Don't know if I want to go in there today because really there's nothing I need, and they're primarily a rubber stamp store. They make rubber stamps and things, so we'll just avoid it. That's the bridge we came in on, so we'll take a little walk in this direction. So this house right across the street is where my great aunt and uncle used to live when I was a kid. That would be my grandmother's sister, and Nelson Insurance Agency. And right over here across the street, can't see it for the trees, but there behind that black, there's this white house right beside it.
I can't see anything.
No, it's in there behind the tree. Yeah, but that's where my great grandmother lived. So she was only across the street from one of her daughters, and my grandmother lived up the road.
There probably weren't too many other houses around.
Well, most of these houses were here then. Well, when I was a kid, they lived there years before that. Okay, this house is where my grandmother Barnum lived for many, many, many years. And the house next door to it, my grandfather Barnum, who I do not remember because he died in 1959 when I was only 2. But this house that I'm showing you right now, right next door, he built these 2 houses, and he was up on July the 1st, 1959 on the roof of this house shingling it, and he had a massive heart attack, and my father was there helping him at the time, and he died instantly, and my father had to bring him down, and that changed everything for my grandmother, because up to that point, she was a stay-at-home mom. Of course, it was 1959. She had a teenage son, and my mother, who was pretty much a teenager, but had just had a baby, me, she had to go out and get a job at the local Bata Shoe. It was a shoe company. Sweatshop, basically, is what it was. And she did that for over 20 years, stitching shoes, and she hated it. But she had to make ends meet, because she wasn't really expecting her husband to kick off at that time. Now, this is the Campbellford Hospital, and this is where I was born. Right here. And my brother and sister as well. And yeah, we don't have to get too close. Well, we got a car behind us, but okay. So yeah, come back to my roots, and right down this street, right straight ahead of us, was the family homestead. This is where my great-grandfather Bland owned this property. In fact, he owned all the property that's in around this area at the time. Of course, now it's developed and whatnot. He got bought out, but my grandfather, his, actually, this was my great-grandfather Oliver that owned this, not Bland. But eventually, my great-grandfather Bland took it over from the old man. He had been Oliver would have been my great-great-grandfather. So we go down this street though, and right to the left, that's where the Haleys used to live. And right here, this was my grandparents' house. Same old garage still there. I'm dying to know what it looks like inside. Looks like they've done some work to it. They've got new, it's all been reshingled, and it looks like they've been making improvements on it.
What they got?
See, they've got the front step, but look, they've redone all new windows and everything in that house. New front entranceway.
I gotta go.
Yep. That house would be over 100 years old now. And this is just more sights of Campbellford, the fairgrounds, community center. But down this road is another family spot, which we just always knew it as the cottage on the Trent River. And it wasn't really owned by my direct family. They're owned by the cousins to my father, and they still own it. But nobody comes down here much anymore. And we're just about upon it.
Do you want me to drive in it?
I don't know if you can drive in or not. You can try.
Where is it?
It's, keep going. It's just, it might be right. Don't go too fast here. That's not it. Keep going. It's up a little further. Kind of tucked away in the bushes. And it's right here with the Canadian.
Here?
Yeah.
No, that's not. Oh, here, yeah.
Yeah, that's it there.
Oh, sorry.
Watch. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know what you're doing.
I don't know what I'm doing either.
You know, try not to get hit by something. Anyways, Trent River's right down there. This isn't the cottage, though.
Oh, isn't it?
No, it's the one that makes right.
You can't really drive in.
No, you can't.
No.
No, so just try to get us back out on the road. Go this way. Okay. So that's the cottage there, and it was built in the early 1930s or late 20s. And actually, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe
You sure that's it?
Yeah, that's it. But it's looking pretty damn good.
Maybe they're getting it ready to
Maybe. It's got a steel roof on it. Yeah, that's it. So we're leaving Campbellford now. The only way out of Campbellford across the river is by this bridge, which is always busy. And up there in the hills, see where it's got Campbellford on the water tank? Well, right below there, that's where most of my family are buried, including my father. Isn't that a cheery guy? I'm not going to visit Dad today, because graveyards are for the dead, not for the living.
Then turn left on Highway 7.
Okay, so this little hamlet here is Norwood. Norwood, I lived here from about 1964 until about 1968. And then we moved to Whitby, and that's basically what I call home now. But Norwood was a nice little place, got a great country fair. One of the few that are still around, that's at Thanksgiving weekend. And yeah, it was a nice place to live when I was a little kid, but those were different times. So we're going to the lovely downtown of Norwood, which if you blink, you will miss it. Once we get to the main four corners, we're going to be hanging a left onto Highway 7 so that we can...
Speak a command.
Oh, that stupid thing keeps going off. Navigator. Anyways, this is the downtown of Norwood. Isn't it huge? Look at it. Not much to it. There's the big water tower. Turn to the left. And this church over here, that was the United Church. We went there when we lived in Norwood.
That's a new water tower, isn't it?
Yep. And that's where my sister was baptized. And yes, as Walter's observed, that's a new water tower. When I was here, it was an old one. It had two great big huge dents in it. And the story goes that on Halloween one year, some of the local teenagers went up there, loosened off the bottom bolts, blew out the exit, whatever you want to call it,
Continue
tunnel,
250 meters.
and
then
all
turn right on Pine
the
Street.
water rushed out of it and created a vacuum inside, and that's sunk in the sides of the water tower. Everybody's trying to get into Norwood.
Turn right on Pine Street.
No, don't listen to it. It's trying to take you to Pine Street. Pine Street was the street that I lived on.
Recalculating. Continue 140 meters, then turn left on Oak Street.
Yeah, okay, be quiet. Navigate.
Turn left on Oak Street, then turn left.
Anyways, it was a nice place to live when you were a little kid. Now we're headed to the big metropolis of Peterborough. And this gives you an idea of what it's like to kind of travel in around Eastern Ontario. It's really not Eastern Ontario, it's more like Central Ontario. But you can see, once you're away from Toronto or even the area we live in, it's pretty rural. Peterborough is not a huge city. It's, I don't know how many, it's probably only got about 150,000 people in it. Maybe it's more than that, I'm not sure. It's probably about the same size as Oshawa, but out here it's much more farm country, less built up, as you can see. The road's good. So we're just on the very edge of Peterborough now, and I was a little over on my estimation as the size of the population, because we just saw the population sign. It's actually only 81,000. I was thinking it was about 150,000, but real small city. So we're now approaching downtown Peterborough. Doesn't it look exciting? Haven't been downtown Peterborough in quite a while. In fact, last time we were here, there wasn't a heck of a lot left of it. Don't know if it's improved any. Yeah, my friend Cohen's out on Side Street, though. Looks like they're going to put in trees. No, it looks like a detour around that. Follow the outhouse on the back of the truck. Well, it's always good to drag around your own washroom. Yes, so this is glorious Peterborough. So this is another shot of downtown Peterborough. It actually is very deceiving because it looks like there's a lot of things down here and whatnot, but a lot of them are not open, or they're empty, or they're for coffee. Not much more.
Or vapes.
Or vapes, yeah. A couple of head shops too. These are natives. Okay, that's probably the most interesting thing in the whole of this downtown is this whole clock tower. The rest of it,
Not too exciting.
not exciting. Makes me happy we live where we live. So that was our exciting day out exploring the more rural parts that are east of where we live. Isn't that exciting? Now we're on a different highway on our way back home. So much excitement I just could fall over and drop dead. You're a sneaky little bun trying to dig under the fence. I caught ya. Walter's not going to be happy. You're going to have a hole out there, aren't you, though? Oh, you're a smart little bunny. I know you're watching me. Oh, little itch? Got a little itch? You're desperate to get under there, aren't you? You are. Can I get closer to you? Okay, so what's cooking? Well, Walter's doing an experiment. We decided we were going to have hamburgers tonight, and they're homemade hamburgers. That's what that gray looking meat is in the sous vide. But he's giving it a shot with the sous vide to cook them, and then he's going to finish them off on the barbecue. So we're going to see how this works. It's an experiment. Is it a time saver? Not really, but we're just playing. So
Just want to see what they turn out like.
Walter just wants to see what his meat will turn out like if it goes from the sous vide to the barbecue. Walter was just saying why he's doing them in the sous vide.
Because normally here, anyways, we like our hamburgers cooked all the way through.
Yeah, we
Right.
don't like raw hamburger.
We don't like
meat.
it.
We don't want to die.
anything inside. So if I put them on the barbecue, I'm always trying to figure out when they're cooked all the way through. So I mean, I slice into them and stuff like that, and they get really crispy on the outside.
Yeah, the Americans always they don't seem to they like the hamburgers rare or medium rare.
Yeah, and I don't even like the taste of that.
And
The only thing I like rare is steak. But
and
anyway.
they say you shouldn't eat raw hamburger meat.
No.
Rare. It should be well done.
No, and so anyway, so I thought, well, if I cook these all the way through on the sous vide, then I put them on the barbecue, and then I just have them cook up crusty on the outside, and I won't care whether they're done or not inside
Crusty
because they'll be
burgers.
inside.
Isn't that a character
Right?
on Simpsons?
No,
the Krusty
Krusty Clown.
Krusty Clown, but he has Krusty burgers.
The crusty burgers.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so we'll see how this works out. Okay, so Walter's now taking the hamburger out of the sous vide and he's draining it out of the bags. And looks real appetizing, doesn't it? Not really.
Not really.
But so how long did you have it in the sous
Oh, I
vide?
only had it in there for about an hour.
Oh.
And they were frozen. Well, they don't really have to be tenderized, right? Because they just have to be cooked through, right? So it's
Yeah,
real
well.
delicious looking right now.
Well, let me go over and get a little closer look at our gray meat. Here. So, don't those look yummy? Oh. Oh. I think I saw something like that on the side of the road the other day.
I probably won't do this again.
Well, one has to experiment because you never know. I mean, you did say, maybe you should have just boiled them in a...
Yeah.
So, now what are you doing?
Going outside and put them on the barbecue.
Oh, now you're just going to barbecue them.
Barbecue
Okay.
them so that they're crusty on the outside.
Crusty on there. Crusty burgers. So Walter's going to outside with his meat to the barbecue. And this is the barbecue out here. The barbecue is hot. Put another gray burger on the Barbie. And juice. So now he's going to sear the meat. Just as a little aside, this is our backyard. Okay, this is technically our backyard. Don't look at it too close. We haven't done anything with it. But out here is the forest that's behind us. And you've heard us talk about this before. And way back there in the trees, you probably can't see because the sun's kind of getting in. There's some tents. We have campers this weekend because this is a Boy Scout reserve. And in the summertime, we have lots of campers in the back. You can hear them. And just as the meat is cooking on the barbecue, so these are some of our flowers out here. And these are our dried herbs. They're not supposed to look like this, but we kind of forgot to water them. And it gets really hot out here. So we've got dried herbs now on here. But the flowers look nice. Okay, so here's the final product. And our recommendation is what?
Just do them regular way.
Yeah. Doesn't have any advantage sous vide hamburgers. But you know, you don't know it until you try. And we have a sous vide and we try these things. What?
I didn't have to keep checking to make sure they were done.
Well, no, I guess that's the advantage. You know that because all you're doing is like charring your meat kind of a thing out in the barbecue. And sometimes hamburgers are hard when they go on a barbecue to know when they're really done. Unless you like raw meat, which we said before. And we don't. Not on hamburgers. So I hope you enjoyed getting a little bit of glimpse into the countryside of Central Ontario and at our wildlife and about cooking, I guess. So I'm going to bring this to a close here. But first I want to talk about what's coming up. My mother's birthday is coming up in another week, August the 15th. And my sister said she was going to send her flowers from the flower store that she works in. How convenient. There isn't anything you can get her. But she's got her brushes and her combs. And that kind of thing sitting on this little table thing that they roll into the bed to feed her, you know, for holding her tray for lunch and dinner and things like that on. And things are getting a little like all over the place. So I thought, being the kind of person I am when it comes to organization, I would make her a little designer pouch to hold her combs and her brushes and things like that, a zippered pouch. And so I did. This is it. I have a zipper, but this is not the one I'm going to give her. This was my prototype. The reason I'm not giving it to her is, one, this. Look at here. The zipper works fine. But what I'm a little bit PO'd about is up here in the corner. I'm not sure again. You know, I'm having trouble with zippers. I don't know why it's all balled up here. Well, I do know why, but I don't know how to get around it yet. Now, I'm noticing on the end that my zipper is a little uneven, but when you close it, you get this basically a little hole kind of a thing happening under here. And I don't like that. I don't think that makes it look finished. Otherwise, I'm kind of happy with it because it's lined and the zipper runs smoothly, no problem. And I even embroidered this little pattern on it. But I did buy, when we were in Campbellford, I did buy a, okay, brain fart. I bought a pattern to create what they called a double zip pouch. And I'm hoping that this will, you know, help me learn how to put the zippers in properly and get around this problem that I'm having with this one. So, and I think I'll do some embroidery on this as well. So once I get the new bland bag done, this is my next project. I could be procrastinating because I still have my queen size bedspread that I want to make, and I keep putting it off. I think subconsciously I'm avoiding it because I'm afraid I'm going to muck it up. Got to get over that. Okay, so that's something, other things coming up. And just a final note, and this goes back to Mike Deacon. I think Mike might be a too trusting a fellow, and I get that because I tend to be kind of that way as well. Walter's not. He's the one that has to, you know, remind me about security issues. Mike got broken in during the day, I think. He was out, Ian was out. I think Ian was out walking his dog and Mike was out either shopping or off to his parents or something like that. Thing is, I got thinking about this. Mike talks a lot, as all of us do, about our personal lives on our YouTube channels. In a sense, you could figure out somebody's schedule, like when they're home, when they're not home. On top of it all, you could figure out what kind of things they have in their house as well that a would-be robber might be interested in. And in Mike's case, now I don't know if he's still doing this, but I think he puts his address in the show notes because people send him Happy Mail. All right, if I'm a robber and I'm intending to take advantage of people on YouTube, if I watch somebody's YouTube and I know when they're going to be away on holidays or when they're not around, what their schedule's like, if I know they've got some interesting items like iMacs, computers, electronics, that kind of stuff that I might be interested in thieving from them, and if I know their address or even the general area of where they live, I could go in and rob them during the day. And that's basically, I think, what happened to Mike. I am not saying this is Mike's fault. I'm saying that the fault lies within our personalities if you're really too much of a trusting person. So, you know, on Facebook, for example, people are always making announcements. I'm going to be away from such and such a date to such and such a date. I'm going here or there or whatever. In the profile, there's a place where you can put where you live, what your address is. There's a lot of information that could go in that profile. And yes, you may have it secured so only your friends can see it, but you don't know who they're sharing the information with either. I'm not saying we should be paranoid about this kind of thing, but I think we need to be a little bit more cautious. In this day and age of electronics, of everything on the internet and the whole bit, I think we have to be our own security systems. And I think that's one thing that I have learned from Mike Deacon's experience. And it's too bad I had to learn it from that, because I mean, too bad for Mike. Like, I really feel bad for Mike with all of this. So live and learn. Be cautious online. You hear it all the time in different formats, but maybe this is an object lesson here with somebody that we know. Maybe it hits home a little bit more directly. Okay, so that's the end of this very long vlog. I hope you have a good week. Stephen and Walter live from a new location somewhere in the house on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And have a great week. Talk to you guys next week. Bye-bye.